morning guys, TheBroGrammer here again today with a brand new video. Today I'll be making a video on how to debug. It was requested by a man called Dan McD. Alright, thanks Dan, much appreciated for the suggestion. Now like you stated Dan, it's a huge topic. Alright, the reason why it's a huge topic is because there's so many issues that can happen when you're coding that it's tough to cover them all. What I'm thinking about doing today is just showing you how it works, how the concept of debugging. Right, that's the only thing I'm thinking about showing today. If you have any more questions afterwards, of course let me know, and I'll try to explain further. Now let's go back to my Eclipse here. I'll just create a new project, Java one obviously, called debugging. Alright, now in here I'll create new class called debugging also. Alright, I'll put my comments there. Alright, day. I know I said a few days then, but you know, I had time to think about it. The only reason why I said a few days when you asked me, it's because I was trying to think of an issue to explain, something that would make more sense, something clear, but you know, it happens that I figured out an easy one, but again, I'm not sure if that will answer your question. But if it doesn't, please do not hesitate, let me know. It'll be my pleasure to actually try to find something that will explain, or yeah, that will make sure you understand the situation. Alright, so this version, it will be how to my libraries. I'll basically use the same one that I use all the time, the javax, not swing, not semicolon, and this is our class definition. And again, like I've recently discovered that I could, not discovered, but I remembered that I could actually zoom in and out. All right, just to make sure you guys can see it clearly, especially those like me that are watching videos on their cell phones. All right, now I'll call up my main function here. I just like putting comments in my program. All right, like when you're in the market, you're programming for a company, you'll see that they're always requesting this. It's just, it becomes second nature. Right, now what I was thinking about doing today was basically creating an array. All right, let me just call it an array of integers called array, and I'll put 10 as the size. All right, a size of 10. And what I'm going to do afterwards is create a for loop. All right, I know I haven't created a video on this yet, but it will come probably right after this one. For loop, and what I'm going to do is create this here equals 0, and I'll explain to you later on why I'm creating it here. All right, so I'll just put colon here, inferior to array length, right, and plus iteration. All right, and what I'm going to do is put a number, the position of the array, I will put the number of it in the array. All right, so I'll just show you how it's done. It's pretty simple. Array at position I equals I itself. All right, pretty simple. So if I equals 0, the array at position 0 will contain the value 0. That's what it is. All right. Position value. All right. Now, array point semicolon. make so many stupid mistakes from time to time. Alright, now I will of course show what's in the array at that specific position. So array plus this position plus, just put a space here, I. Alright, so basically it'll just show me the array at this position and what it contains. Alright, not I. Array dot array. Alright, simple as that. Now I'll just run this. Alright, there shouldn't be any issues. Alright, I'll just run it. As you can see, that's the output array at the position 0. Gives me 0, 1, 2, 3, up until 9. But if you count them, it still contains 10 values. Alright, now we are done with this. To run the debugger in Java, it's really simple. Alright, what you're going to do is just either press the F11 button, but before that, make sure you close your program. Alright, the running state of your program. And to do that, you'll just come here, remove all terminal launches, we're good. Alright, now you either press the F11 button to start the debugger mode, or you go to run here and debug. Alright, debug is really good. The only problem is I forgot to put my breakpoints. Right, breakpoints are really useful in the sense that they tell your debugger where to go next. They're like stopping signs. All right, your debugger will go there. He'll be like, oh, okay, so I gotta stop there. All right, okay, I started there. Okay, so the next step will be here, and then the next step will be here, next step will be here. So let's say I start my debugger for the first time. You'll run everything and then stop here. All right, after this, once you press next, it'll stop here. Press next, it'll stop here. Press next, it'll stop here. Wow, we're talking too much right now. Let's just try it right now. Alright, so let's go back to run again. Debug. Alright, yes. As you can see, there's a green line here. Reason why there's a green line is because that's where it stops first. Now let me just bring out the variable tab here so we can see what it's all about. Let me just minimize this here. Minimize this here a little bit also. Alright. Minimize this here also. So as you can see, first breaking point, that's where the debug stops for the first time. Right now, this is the next button, quote unquote. So if you press next, it goes there. If you press next, it'll go here. If you press next, it'll go here. Right, back again, back again, back again, back again. Right now, all right, as you can see. Let me just add a breaking point here. Right, but everything is done because code completed successfully. Everything is done. Let me just start again. All right, go back in debug mode. All right, run. Yes, Jesus. I gotta stop it again. Run debug mode. All right, here, and then if I run it again, as you can see, it shows my variable here. Alright, so here, if I run it again, it'll show me the value of the variable I, which is 0, which is good, which is what we want. Alright, which is what it's supposed to be, because that's the value I gave it. Now if we start again here, we go here, array I. Alright, look at the variable value, it's still 0. Alright, we go here, value is still 0. Alright, we go back again, because we're in the loop. Instead of going back to this breakpoint, it'll go here. Now look at the value here. It's still 0, right? Still 0. Nothing has changed, right? We go there. The value is 1. Why? Because there's the iteration here, which is plus plus, means that increased by 1. All right. And then we go back here. Value, the variable of I is still 1. We go back here. It's executing this right now, so it's still 1. All right. Now once we go down here, the value is 2. The value has changed. Alright, now let's go back, run it. As you can see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and program is done. Alright, now let's just create a mistake, an error. Alright, let's say equals. Alright, now we said I, once I inferior equals array point length. Alright, let's just run this. For the smart ones, you'll know what the issue is, obviously. Now if we press run, debug, alright, we start at the top, start, right, I equals 0, boom, we know everything will be fine from now on. Alright, 7, 8, 9, everything is still fine. Alright, 10, I contain 10 because I said equals here, right? It's not just strictly inferior, there's the equal. So if I press next, we're trying to stock 10 in the array here, boom, we get an error message. Alright, we get an error message. The reason why we get that error message is because the way arrays are done is it start at 0 instead of 1. So if an array has a value of 10, it'll start at 0 and finish at 9. Alright, so the reason why I'm trying to stock 10 is not working is because there's only 10 spots instead of 11. If I add an array of 11, alright, it'll be fine in the sense that there will be one extra space for the 10th value. Alright, the reason why I've made this is to create that specific mistake. As you can see here, let's just go here, 0, 1 till 9. Alright, and then if I wanted to add an extra value, I'll add the array 10 and then the value 10 to it. But my array size will be 11 instead of just 10. Right, really important. I'll make a video on this, don't worry about it. Right, as you can see here, array index out of bound exception, and it gives me the value of the array. Now, let me just add a quick, what we call a try catch. Alright, I'll just put this here. And then catch. Alright, so let me just copy this here. Okay, you know what? Let's just go back. Let's just write down exception E. Alright, so this will catch any exception that comes out of this, right? Any, right? And then print it out. Error. Alright, so if there's a index array out of bound error, it will show us the error. Alright, now let me just decrease the size of the array because nobody got time for 10 here. Let's go to 5, and then let's go back in, let's stop this and go back in debugging mode again. So if we debug, alright, our variable, our value I is still at 0. We go back, we run it, it's at 1 now, 2 now, 3 now, alright, 4 now, and then 5. Alright, now we know 5, that's the limit. Alright, we know 5 is going to create an error because we've tested it earlier, right? The reason why we've had the try catch here. So whenever you're debugging, it's really important. If you think you find out where the error is, put a try catch, alright, between it, and whenever there's an error, put a specific error that you want. Alright, in my case, I put an error, so I know the error message is between this right now. So print out a specific error message. It'll tell you where your error is, quote unquote, because right now we've reduced everything as to here. We know the error is between this, right? We know the error is between this. Now then, it's up to you by running your debug, right? By running your debugger, and by double checking the variables, because that's basically the only things you can check. Usually you have errors because of the variables. That's usually what happens. All right, as you can see here, 2, and just try to make the logic there, because the variable is at 3 now, it's at 4. All right, and then now it's at 5, and that's an array out of bound exception. We already know this. All right. Now the reason why I've put in my variable I outside of the for loop is pretty simple. It's because if I don't put it here, let me just remove this first. If I don't put it here, well, delete this, and I put it here, let's see what happens. All right. And that's something tricky with the loops there. All right. Let's run it in debug mode again. We started here, which is fine. Went back here. Alright. What happens with the for loop, which is really specific, is that from time to time it might not work. You might not recognize the I here, and it's not going to show it here in the variables. But like, I put it there just in case. You can put it here in the for loop, but from time to time it might not appear here in the variable part. I'm not sure if it's on the Eclipse part or on the programming part, but I gave you that option just in case, so you know what happens, alright, if you can't see your variable. So thanks again for watching my video, debugging, how to debug. Alright, it's pretty simple in a way, but this is a really basic code. Alright, basic code, so it's really simple to debug. Might get complicated, tougher once you get into like big projects, but again, you shouldn't be using your debug unless you really need it, in the sense that you should be testing parts of your code instead of just programming everything in one shot and then testing everything afterwards, like I did a few times in college. Alright, don't do this, guys. Alright, thanks Dan McD again for the suggestion, really appreciate it, and see you next time. Thanks, bye.